Okay, this was only going to be a 3-part series on painting this bonnet, but I've had just a few questions and a few people interested in this painting all of a sudden. So there'll probably be another part after this, but that'll only be when the bonnet's buffed. I might even time-lapse that. What I'm going to show you now is this is the rubbing down before you buff. Now, I can't afford to have this car off the road for too long, so you can see there that actually needs to be rubbed down a bit more there. It should be all flat like this side. This has been rubbed down with 2000 wet and dry and a block, which I will show you my little setup here. Now this block, see, 2000 wet and dry, and the block I got from Super Cheap. So it should be facing that way with the holes up. Okay. You just rub it till it's flat. You can tell when you got it right because the paper will just sort of glide over the top and it won't really do much. This is just to get some orange peel out because it was raining yesterday. I mixed the paint a bit too thick. Didn't put a lot of thinners in. So this is off the gun. I haven't done this yet. But there's a bit of orange peel, especially in the middle it was a bit worse, so I'm going to go over this half of the bonnet again in a minute. As far as spraying goes, now I'm not a spray painter and I'm not a panel beater. I did work in the late 70s, I worked in a panel shop for 2 years. That's my garage door, that's where I test the spray guns out. Before you paint, you set your fan on your gun. Now, I'll show you what I do. Between, see, your little finger and your thumb, you spread them out. You should have, that's how wide your fan on your gun should be spraying. So you should end up with an oval about that big, as big as when you spread out your little finger and your thumb. It should be that big. And when you're spraying, you just sort of overlap it 50% all the time as you're spraying. You can adjust the flow on your gun, like how much paint comes out. So if you haven't really sprayed much before, I'd sort of turn it in a bit and go a bit slower, because if you have it out too far, it can really throw the paint out and you get big runs. And the only other adjustment you've got is your air, which will determine how much air comes into the gun. Not all guns have got that. So if you've only got 2 knobs, 2 dials, one of them is your fan and the other one is the paint flow. So yeah, you can see there. See at the back of the bonnet there, just about there? That needs to be rubbed back more. It should be all flat, like this side. And it looks horrible at the moment, but when you buff it, you give it a good buff, and they'll all come out. I've done that side. The sides aren't as bad, because it's like, I'm an old-fashioned spray painter. Because I learnt years ago, I've only ever used acrylic. And I know blokes will sort of start on this side now, on this side of the bonnet, and work their way across to there, but I just do half-half. I've never had any dramas. So because you're spraying, when you start in the middle of the bonnet, you're not as close, so you sort of tend more to get a bit of orange peel there, and as you get over here closer, you tend to do a better job with the gun, which is what happened with the sides. So I just rubbed that out. I'm not going to buff it today. I only painted it yesterday. I probably shouldn't have rubbed it down today, but like I said, I can't afford to have this off the road. I've got to sort of get the bonnet back on soon, so I think I can only afford to leave it for the rest of today, and tomorrow I'll buff it. Usually, if you want to do it properly, if you're painting a whole car, you'd leave it for a couple of weeks, even before you rubbed it down. But it's not too bad. Usually when you walk in and you can't smell any thinners or anything anymore, that means the paint's actually, all the thinners has come out of the paint and it's dry. I can sort of smell a little bit now, not as bad as yesterday of course, but yeah. And like I said, I just keep blocking that. I use 2000 because I used to use 1200 and you get too many scratches, so I'm using 2000, which takes you a bit longer, but and sometimes I use the old Sunlight soap trip, If you feel it biting in too much, you just rub some soap over the surface, a bit of water, and you just use that, and the block will actually slide across, and you get that a lot with the finer grits. Like I said, I'm no expert. There'll be spray painters watching this that'll be horrified. But with acrylic, you can fix a lot of mistakes. I've never done 2-pack. I want to do it. I probably will one day, but for now, I've always done acrylic. So that's where I'm at the moment. Any questions you can ask me if I know. Like I said, I'm no expert, but I've been spraying for like 30, 40 years, so, but only in acrylic. And I'm probably doing it wrong, and if I've been doing it wrong, I've been doing it wrong for 40 years. So most of the stuff I do doesn't come out too bad. You know, look where I'm spraying. There's, in the garage, I haven't covered anything. I really should have something over the top when I spray, because I always get little bits of dirt and shit in it, but I'm not building show cars, so I don't worry about it. Yeah, so then the very last part of this, I might do a time lapse and just film the buffing part, and that'll be it. And then it was suggested to me to make a video featuring the Adventurer. I don't think I've done that, so I'll go right through the Adventurer, but it's just a stock standard CX6 with the LY7 engine. But if you're interested in that, I will do a feature on that. It's not going to hurt me to do it, so, but I'll get this done first. Anyway, I'll see you in the part 3 that is now part 4 coming up. See yous. G'day. I couldn't wait. Just a quick preview. I've just buffed this section to see how my rubbing down went, and it all looks pretty good. So anyway, next video, probably tomorrow, I'll buff the whole lot. Alright, see you later. Sorry, this is part like 100 of part 3. I was a bit vague before when I was talking about the spray gun. So this is the gun I used for the finish coat. What I was talking about is, if I can get this right, that's your air. That's the air going into the gun. You can dial that back. That's your air pressure. This one here controls how much paint flows through the gun. So if you screw that out anti-clockwise, you'll go through more paint. It'll throw more paint out. If you want less, you screw it in. And this is your fan control. So clockwise, it'll just shoot out. It'll be just a straight little round blob, and it'll just run everywhere. This is the main one. If you turn it anti-clockwise, turn it out until your fan is about that big, from your tip of your little finger to the tip of your thumb, and it should be in a round oval pattern. So yes, that's the most important. So that's the fan control. I'll show you another gun I got, which came from Aldi, which isn't bad, but I had a few dramas yesterday because I didn't clean it properly. On this one, you might have one like this. This is the fan control, and it actually has a dial on the side that shows you like bigger and smaller. So I think if I turn this one anti-clockwise, that makes it smaller, and clockwise makes the fan bigger. This one's still the same. This is your paint flow. Of course, this is a smaller gun. I screwed this out a bit, and there's your airflow down the bottom. Depending on what type of gun you got, this is a suction gun. Those two are gravity guns. This is a suction gun, same thing. If you can see, I'll show you on the side. See, it actually tells you. So it's actually anti-clockwise makes it bigger, and clockwise makes it smaller. That's your fan control there. That spreads how far the paint spreads out when you spray it. There's your this one here determines how much paint flows through the gun, and that's your airflow, how much air pressure you want going into the gun. So yeah, I just thought I'd cover that in this. I'm just going to have a look at this one, see if it's the same. I can't really see. Yeah, that one's the same. So sorry, I got it wrong before. It's actually, when you're looking at it, it'll be anti-clockwise will make the fan spread out, and clockwise will make it smaller. That's with those controls. With this one, I know that clockwise will make it smaller and anti-clockwise makes it bigger. Anyway, I hope that helps. When I spray, I usually put about 1/3 paint, 2/3 thinners. Like I said, there'll be people who think you're an idiot. They don't agree with me, that's fine, because I'm not an expert. I'm only doing what I've done in the past, and it seems to be alright for me. Yeah. Maybe one day when I'm spraying again, I'll video that and I'll explain it a bit better. But anyway, I hope that helps you. I'll catch you next time.